So let's talk about that, because beer is nothing new, right? There's tons of beer companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think about breaking into an industry that is, it's not like you're inventing anything. How did you go about that? I mean, I know you were going after a different niche, whatever that word is.
Yeah. Sort of.
Yeah. So context, what year was this when you went through your race?
This is about 10 years ago.
Okay. So it's still on the front end of that craft beer craze, right? Like that's before.
Kind of at the tail end, to be honest.
Was it? Okay.
It was,
Tyler, my question was valid.
Sorry, stupid. I apologize. I'm embarrassed.
It was no. It was at the tail end of kind of like where it was just going vertical, right? Like it was, but it was right before companies started getting acquired.
I was going to say like Ballast Point, for example.
Probably most importantly, we sold 2 months before them.
Okay.
So it was. I mean, I think for me, when I was in Ventura and I had the idea and I would be looking at the beer shelves, I would say, gosh, brands like Ballast Point or Stone or Sierra Nevada or, these huge breweries, I would say, I don't know anything about them. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know anything about them. And, coming from skateboarding and surfing, I know everything about Vans and I know everything about Supreme and I know everything about, right. Whether your friends created those brands or Volcom or any of the ones that our friends have started, the fans of skateboarding and surfing know the story behind Quicksilver and Hurley and like all of these different things. And in beer, you don't know anything. And I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, how is this it's selling just because it's here? That's ridiculous. And if that is the case, I can out-brand everything on this shelf.
Yes.
I just have a better eye for what I think looks good. And the only difference between St. Archer and everything else was brand. Yeah, we launched the brand with a blonde ale, a pale ale, and an IPA, the 3 most generic craft beers in the country. And we became the fastest growing craft beer overnight in the U.S.
Is that because? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it was all brand, right? When you're, that's what I've done, and I look at categories. You look at multi-billion-dollar categories. If you just go to a grocery store, you can put yourself through that and go look at the bread and the cheese and the milk and you look at all of these different categories. They're all multi-billions, and all of them are asleep at the wheel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, they're asleep at the wheel. And I think you can really exploit that if you have the vision and the balls to do it.
So maybe get in a little bit to that example, without maybe giving away your secret sauce, if you want to keep that close to your chest. But what in the craft beer or beer industry, what did you see was the gap? Just because there was no story associated with it, you wanted to tell the story. Just real branding, like having promoting an aspirational life that people connect to, that they associate with your brand. It's nothing new. It's like the Marlboro Man in the 70s. It's like it's nothing new. It's nothing that like apparel and shoes and cars and in a lot of cases alcohol and cigarettes they've been doing for years. But craft beer hadn't done it, just like hard seltzer hadn't done it. Right. So like it just hadn't happened. And so I just took all of those lessons from, I mean, St. Archer could have been a clothing business. Right. It just so happened to be a craft beer.
Right. You had a great audience as well. You were working day to day with the audience that you were building it around. So I
am the audience.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to say is you understood who you were after because it was you.
Yep. Yep. It was me. And it was just what I was into. And I think like, having dealt with bigger brands like, Coors or Bud or, those, they go through all these focus groups and they do all right. Like, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I create the brands that I like and my friends like and my family likes. If nobody else likes it, they can fuck off. Like I don't